Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. I'm going to do a shop tour. Yes, another shop tour. The last one I did was 11 years ago. Some of the shop's the same as it was back then, but there's been some changes. The reason I'm doing the shop tour is I am redesigning the shop. I'm going to tear it apart. It's going to be down for about a month or two. And for better workflow, for better storage, for more room, do larger projects. I'll do some interim videos as I'm redoing the shop, little bits and pieces here. Nothing, I'm not going to do a whole shoot for it. I will give shout outs to the wonderful YouTube channels that inspired me with projects to do in here, because the YouTube woodworking community is great. We're sharing information and we learn a lot from each other, and I've learned a lot since I came on YouTube years ago. More so now since I'm paying more attention. So I'm going to do a shop tour. And let's get started with what's right here. Now this hasn't changed much at all. The difference is the workbench is not out here. The workbench is against the wall. And it has a bunch of cabinets below it that it's all connected in one piece. I want this off the wall. But the drills, the battery chargers, the hammers. We have a few more tape measures than we did last time. And my measuring tool storage is still up here, although I've added to it since then. Nothing really much here has changed, as I said. Next wall, clamps. Clamps. This hasn't changed much either. I've got about the same amount of clamps I had last time. I've added a bunch of these quick clamps, which I find extremely convenient for a lot of projects. But what we found is we almost never use these, the bar clamps. Very rarely do I pull them off the wall. Mostly I'm using my Jorgies, the F body clamps, C clamps. I've got some of these parallel clamps. There's more down here that I find I use more. I got to get more of these. I think these are wonderful. Over here, I have these panel clamps, the flat panel clamps that I bought many years ago at a woodworking show, and I use those occasionally for gluing up panels. They're very convenient for that. DeWalt thickness planer, the 735, whatever it is. I think it's the one that just about everybody has. I really love this thing. What I like most about it is the low speed when you want to do fine cuts and fine finishing. What I don't like about it is what we don't like about just about every surface planer on the market. That comes with straight blades is the blades just don't last. Even though you put clean wood through them, eventually you get these little nicks in them. You don't know where they came from, and now you got ridges on your wood, and you got to sand all that off. I'm going to be saying this a lot in here. First world problem, I know. There's a fix for that. I'm working on it. Next, hardware storage. Trying to keep that organized. It's hard in this small space, but I've got, this is the same as it was last time, with these black Stanley and Harbor Freight bins, number 6, number 8, number 10, number 12, wood screws, jig and fixture, miscellaneous hardware, Molex connectors, antique nails. We do work where we do projects where we need antique nails. Pocket hole stuff, deck screw stuff, mollies, what is it? Hydraulic swage lock fittings, big believer in swage lock for anything hydraulic, sheet metal screws, pop rivet stuff, and various collections of sheet metal screws, machine screws, nuts, bolts, and small storage. Now, this is a new addition. This piece of ductwork that's running up and down the wall here. Well, what the hell is that for? Note the vent pouring out near the floor. When you follow that tube all the way up to the ceiling, oh look, there's a fan up there. It's a variable speed fan, and it's up near the ceiling because when the HVAC is putting out heat, it's great, but a lot of the heat stays up near the ceiling. This is almost 11-foot high ceilings. So it doesn't come down, and it can still be a little cool down here. Again, first world problem. This takes the hot air from up near the ceiling and blows it down through the tube, out here, across the floor, and into the shop. So that kind of balances out the heat within the shop. Don't need it for the air conditioning because it sinks. I have the same Rikon bandsaw, 14-inch. Do some resawing because we still buy a lot of our wood in the rough from a local hardwood supplier, and mill it ourselves. It saves money. A little more work, but it saves money. Little tip here. I want you to show you this. This little magnetic lamp. Shining at see how bright that is? It's LED, sticks with a magnet. This gives you great illumination around your work surface. Better than the lamp that's on the saw, which is over here, and it can only really point to the back of your blade. This puts it right on the blade. If you want to get closer for some really detailed work, you can take that magnet and put it right down there. So yeah, I think this was, I think it was $11 for two. Link in the description to get these on eBay. Really convenient little lamps. I have 3 of these setups in the shop. There's a shop vac back there and a dust stopper, and that's the dust collection for the bandsaw. It's on an eye socket, so when you turn the bandsaw on, obviously the dust collector comes on, or chop vac, and pulls the dust out. Now, getting dust out of a bandsaw is problematic, I know. This takes care of most of it, which I'm pretty happy with it. I'm trying to make some improvements on that later during the shop overhaul. Here, I have my welding gear. I've got a little MIG welder there. It's a 120 volt MIG welder. I can do up to 3/16 stock. I've got it below that. You can see the tanks for. I've got a oxyacetylene set below that, and you can't see it in the frame, but the gas tank for the MIG welder is in the back. I'm going to change this as well. I want to put this on a rolling cart, so the top of the rolling cart is a flat welding surface, and everything else goes in a shelf below it. Yeah, I built one of these too. Again, it's another dust buster and a shop vac, and this is for sanding, almost strictly for sanding. It's connected to our DeWalt random orbital. It's very convenient. I don't have to hook up the random orbital to the dust collector. I've got this, I can roll around the shop. It's on an eye switch. Actually, it's a different kind of switch. There's a video on my channel of me building this, or how I built it. Link in the description. And this way you can roll it up to the workpiece anywhere you're working in the shop, and the dust collector turns on when you turn the sander on, turns off when you turn the sander off, and it does a really good job of pulling up the dust and getting it into this little. As a matter of fact, last time I opened it, this had a lot of sawdust in it. The dust collector had almost none. You can see reviews of these things all over YouTube. But this has been inspired by other YouTubers. This is my iteration of it. So look at my video, link in the description. Next, chop saw upgrade. Maybe a lateral, I don't know. I had a Delta dual compound, dual laser chop saw, miter saw. It was not a slider, it was a fixed. I wanted a slider, I got a slider. And this is a 12-inch, but I wanted a slider that I could put close to a wall. So this one has the rods on the other side. When I articulate or move the saw moves on the rods don't move. So I can put it up close to a wall, and that's going to become very convenient when I rearrange the shop and put this somewhere else. Lathe is also an upgrade. The previous one was an older Rockwell that I had restored. I found it on Craigslist, I think, and it was kind of a mess. And I restored it back to be really usable condition and put it on a cabinet. We used that for a while, but I wanted a variable speed. First world problem. I like variable speed tools. Changing belts and changing gears I find kind of tedious. So we got this with the variable speed. Now Mara uses this more than I do. A lot of her spinning and weaving tools have to be turned. They're turned parts, they're turned tools. So she uses this more than I do, which is great. All the turning tools are over here, up against a wall. I don't know if you can see it in camera, but I use PVC pipe to hold the tools in place. Magnetic stripes to hold the working tools for the lathe, and a nice bright LED light to shine on your workpiece to give you bright light, and it doesn't strobe. So there's that. There's the lathe. Next, our CNC. There's a couple of videos about this CNC, and it's used in a couple of videos. It's Mara bought this with her income from her little Etsy store, Etsy shop. She's not going to retire on what she makes, but she's making some decent money now and again, and we bought this with that. It's a Next Wave, not a sponsor, Next Wave Automation Piranha XL. XL just means it's a longer table, so I've got a 12 by 24 inch working surface. For the things that we make, for her projects and mine, this is plenty of size. This is all we need for what we do. The dial indicators you see here are just because I'm retramming the machine. It needs it. Tramming just means indexing the axis of the router perpendicular to the work surface. And I'll leave a link in the description from one of Mark Lindsay's videos, CNC Guru, on how to do that. He can explain it much better than I can. This has built-in dust collection, kinda. Again, another dust buster and a small shop vac. It's automatic. When you start the work job, it turns on the dust collector. When the work job is finished, it turns the dust collector off. I've got an electronic switch that does that. So that's our CNC machine, sitting on a little desk we picked up for 20 bucks off of Craigslist, I think. This will move to a better location during the shop renovation as well. This toolbox is for just my electrical tools and my electrical stores and supplies. And this is my rollaway. In the previous video shop tour, I said I was outgrowing that one. I outgrew it, I did. And I got this Black Friday sale at Home Depot. It's a Husky. All my mechanics tools are up in here. My automotive tools are at the bottom. This is general mess storage up here as they usually are. And I've got one drawer specific for precision measurement tools, for soldering, and then I've got one for metalwork and bodywork here. But all my automotive tools and mechanical tools are in this cabinet. The same drill press I had 11 years ago, so I've had this 13 or 14 years. It's the Ryobi, a variable speed. Again, it's a variable speed tool. I love variable speed tools. They make life much more convenient. And like the bandsaw, I've got one of these little LED lights that clips right there, and it really illuminates the work surface very nicely. Move it around, put it wherever you want. One of the upgrades to it was I got a precision manual chuck without a key. Doesn't use a key. And I upgraded the table to this, I think it's a woodpeckers. They had it on sale, so I bought this woodpeckers table. The machinist vise is up here because I'm doing some metal work for a project that we're both working on. Variable speed. Storage for all my handheld power tools, kinda. Routers, pneumatic tools, things like that, you know, stuff. That's going to get stored better with a shop overhaul. Dust collector, PSI. I had a homemade Cyclone before. It didn't work as well as I liked, so I got this. It works much better. I guess I made some mistakes making that homemade one. Anyway, PSI dust collector, that'll get moved in another location and plumbed a little better. And what I want to do is 6 inches from the dust collector, as close to the tool as I possibly can, and 4 inches from there. And I'm going to build a set of automatic pneumatic blast gates, video to come later. Router table, built into the right wing of my table saw. A lot of people do it. I had a cabinet based on the Norm Abrams cabinet, which was great. I loved it. You put it anywhere in the shop. Problem was it took up a lot of space, a lot of floor space. So I eventually decided to build it into the right side of my saw. The opportunity came when I went to a estate sale and I bought a whole set of JESSM parts from the estate sale, which included the Porter Cable 3 horsepower, I think it's a 7518 router, get the number later. And I built it into the right side of my table saw, and I sold my old router table to a friend of mine who set it up in his shop, and he's using it now. So this has been very convenient, cleared up a lot of floor space. Built in, I got all the dust collection going on. It's all wired up and nicely. All the storage is down here. By the way, there's a video on my channel of me building and mounting this up. Link in the description. This little gadget right here is kind of cool. I got this from Izzy Swan. He markets and sells these. Let me show you exactly how this works. Free ad for Izzy. When I saw this, I had to have one. It extends either of the miter slots out with a surface if you need that extension for a long piece of work or for your miter gauge. Clamps right onto the fence rail, like so. Has the groove built into it for the miter gauge. And now you can bring your miter gauge out further if you need to. Or if you have a workpiece that's is a little heavy on this side, you can use this. It's cool. I had to have one. It's just cool. Izzy Swan, link in the description. So that's about it. Welcome to 2021. Oh, I already said that, didn't I? Anyway, welcome to 2021. So that's where I'm at now. The changes that are coming, I'm actually putting it on paper, drawing it up, doing measurements correctly this time. And I did a video earlier, late last year, a quick video about what I wanted to do, and I've kind of updated things I want to do since then. So I'm going to kind of keep mum about that, and like I said, I'll shoot some video along the way as I redo the shop, which probably won't start till February. And then I'll do a complete tour when I'm done with the setups, the storage, and everything. So until then, make great things out of wood and go have a beer.